All right, shalom, shalom. All right, call Loyam La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakodash. He double honors the apostles, elders, and a great millstone. Salutations to you, Akim, pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, so the name of this lesson is The Greatest Threat to E. Okay, the greatest threat to E. All right. And the greatest threat is the hope that we have. Okay. I always bring this out every now and again. Um, and yeah, so I always bring this out. Dealing with the Southampton ordeal that happened in 1831, and the revolt. Nat Turner's revolt. Okay, and what we know from it is that he was inspired by the scriptures. Okay, and he we could read a little bit about it. All right. So it says Nat Turner's revolt, 1831. All right. So it says on the evening of August 21st to 22nd, 1831, an enslaved preacher and self-styled prophet named Nat Turner launched the most deadly slave revolt in the history of the United States. Over the course of a day in Southampton County, Turner and his allies killed 55 white men, women, and children as the rebels made their way toward Jerusalem, now Courtland. All right. Less than 24 hours after the revolt began, the rebels encountered organized resistance and were defeated in an encounter at James Parker's farm. Following the setback, Turner and other rebels scrambled to reassemble their forces the next day. A series of defeats led to the effective end of the revolt. White people quickly and brutally reasserted their control over Southampton County, killing roughly 3 dozen black people without trials. Within a few days of the revolt, white leaders in Southampton became increasingly confident that the revolt had been suppressed and were to limit the extra legal killing of black people. Okay. So I only bring up this history lesson. I always bring it up because of the response that these Edomites gave. All right. And during the House of Delegates in 1832. So thinking this was the topic was slave abolition. All right. And you had this guy Henry Berry, and basically what he was. Let's see. All right. So let's see if we get a little bit on him again. So the topic is the biggest threat to E. All right. The biggest threat is our hope. All right, and this truth. Okay, because this truth is the absolute weapon against Esau's power structure. Okay. So this guy had a speech at the House of Delegates, right along with other councilmen, congressmen, what have you. All right, and in his during this delegation, he made a statement, of course, and I always reference this statement because it holds so true to what we've been dealing with as a nation of people, having you know our communities, pretty much infiltrated, and essentially our education has been, sabotaged, you know, by this devil. Okay, so I'll go into it. this is what he said. That I want to go into some precepts, you know, just to prove that faith is, you know, is the greatest threat to ease power structure. Okay, and that's why, well, that's why, you have the mass confusion, the mass dumbing down of the population. Okay, because they don't want you to grow inspiration. All right, so they go into mentioning how the Southampton affair was the work of the most ignorant, deluded wretches on earth. Okay, because Nat Turner's inspiration was from the scriptures. All right, and that's what they all ultimately that's what they fear the most. Okay, all right. So I'll continue. All right. So let me see. I don't want to start. They know he cannot kill them all. But okay, so I'll start in the middle here. All right. It says I admire, and I think this is all parties going back and forth. But Henry Berry says something very um, very how can I say profound. All right. It says I admired the philosophy, not to use a harsher term, of the gentleman from Brunswick, which enabled him to turn the whole Southampton affair into ridicule. He told us he had witnessed that tragedy or a part of it. All right, sir. All right, and this is in response to Nat Turner's rebellion. So it says, but sir, although I have no fears for Slack, it says, sir, had I witnessed that tragedy, I am sure I could never have thought of it and smiled. But sir, although I have no fears for any general results from the efforts of this class of our population now, still, sir, the time will come when there will be imminent uh, general danger. All right, and they basically speaking on the slaves. This is passed as severe laws as you will to keep these unfortunate creatures in ignorance. Okay, so the point of they were passing laws of what to keep Jake in ignorance. Okay, it is in vain unless you can extinguish that spark of intellect which God has given them. You see, very profound statement. Okay, and what does it mean for you? This mean for you? How does it apply to you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? Right. We'll look at the state of your, the communities. All right, so to speak. Okay, I'm not no community advocate or anything like that. All right, but we know the community, those so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American communities have been infiltrated and and sabotaged. They sabotaged the way of, pretty much um, the way of truth and understanding. All right. Um, so they can play on your ignorance. Okay. Increase the ignorance within that, so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American communities. All right. So I read again. It says, "Pass as severe laws as you will to keep these unfortunate creatures in ignorance. It is in vain." All right. That's why you had things we always talk about, like black exploitation. You had all sorts of things set in place that would, influence us in a certain way that we wouldn't uh, have that spark of intellect right here. It says, unless you can extinguish that spark of intellect which God has given them. You see, that's why they, pretty much broke up the family, broke up everything. All right. It says, let any man who advocates slavery examine the system of laws that we have adopted. From stern necessity, it may be said towards these creatures, and he may shed a tear upon that. and would to God, sir, the memory of it might thus be blotted out forever. Sir, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which light might enter their minds. All right. And this is America. Okay. This is a plight of you so called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay. Esau is, as it says here, close every avenue which light might enter their minds. Okay. And that's why they, these cultures, or what you call culture now, it's not really culture, it's decadence, so that you won't, be on the level. All right. And really, I just at the last minute looked this up, evidence. I just looked this up, just to, get his lesson more context. Um, but, originally this lesson I did yesterday, okay, at work. And I kind of didn't like it. I just wanted to, go into a little bit more, But hope, the whole point of this is hope is power, okay? And they, with all their efforts in trying to extinguish the capacity to see the light, all right, our capacity to see the light, they have failed. You see, throughout all those different efforts, everything that they have done throughout their history concerning us and concerning the covert, I'll say covert operations to destabilize and to eradicate the how can I say to eradicate the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding among you so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans. They've done all of that to no avail. Okay, all right. And that the greatest threat is that us knowing this truth. All right. So this is John 3:19. Well, you know what? I'll start at 19. All right. So John 3:19, and this is the condemnation that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Okay. And so for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, well, those that understand this truth and has been moved by this truth, that light, of course, is the truth. All right. All right. 100% truth. Okay. Concerning the world, concerning our plight, concerning the Lord, Yahweh Shai, concerning Yahweh, the Father, Abba. All right. That is the condemnation. Okay. And this is what Esau has pretty much removed from the world and has crossed out the knowledge of the Lord. All right. The knowledge of truth. Okay. And that's why you have things like, you have the drill epidemic. It's an epidemic. All right. Drill music epidemic. All right. And before that, you had, a drug epidemic and the war on drugs. All right. So these things were put into place to destabilize or to deliberately sabotage the so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, so they can fuel the systems of oppression, and can cast you off into darkness and into their prison systems. But as it says here, and this is the condemnation that light has come into the world. So this light, this truth, condemns this world. All right. So let's go back. All right. So it says here again, pass as severe laws as you will to keep these unfortunate creatures in ignorance. It is in vain unless you can extinguish the spark of intellect which God has given them. Let any man who advocates slavery examine the system of laws that we have adopted. From stern necessity, it may be said. It says, towards these creatures, and he may shed a tear upon that, and would to God, sir, the memory of it might thus be blotted out forever. Sir, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which light might enter their minds. You see, okay, and that light, you can equate it. You can say that's the hope. All right, the hope that we have. All right, which is this truth, and that's why you got these Christians, apologetics. Even we already know infiltrated Israelites who, they try to uh, make light of the doctrine. All right. Okay. It says, we have only to go one step further to extinguish the capacity to see the light. All right. So they had to take it a step further. All right. So to see the light. All right. Okay. And of course, that's them doing what they can to take, uh, you know, of the Bible, all right, or God out of, the equation when it comes to this society, all right. So, oh yeah, by the way, this is the speech of Henry Berry of Jefferson in the House of Delegates of Virginia on the abolition of slavery. If you want to, I can just go ahead and put this in the description box too. So, just to remember that, I'll do that for you, Aggie. All right. So, let's see. It says, and our work would be completed. They would then be reduced to the level of the beasts of the field, and we should be safe. You see, and this is what Esau has been banking on, and that's why their agenda has been so um, you know harsh on Jake. Okay, and it says, and I am not certain that we would not do it if we could find out the necessary process, and that under the plea of necessity. All right. So let's see. But sir, this is impossible. And can man be in the midst of freemen and not know what freedom is? Can he feel that he has the power to assert his liberty, and will he not do it? Yes, sir. With the certainty of the current time, will he do it? Do it whenever he has the power. Sir, prove that the time will come. I need offer no other argument than that of arithmetic, conclusion from which are clear demonstrations on this subject. All right, the data are before us all, and every man can work out the process for himself. So yeah, man, so Esau pretty much went to great lengths so that we wouldn't get this light or have the understanding, okay, that we have now. All right, but you can't do nothing against the truth, but for it. So again, let's see. Yep. 2 Corinthians 13:8, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. All right. And so Esau, you essentially you spark, a revolution through. And I don't want to use the word revolution, but you spark. You help. You had a helping hand in, this truth being, brought the way it is. Okay. So you try to eliminate the light, in which we eliminate the light so we can stay in ignorance. But eventually, that light still came. All right. All right. And that was a promise. Okay. All right. So I had a rough morning. So, all right. So you couldn't eliminate the promise in which the Lord, uh, set up from the beginning. All right. right, so Salaki. Bear with me for a second. Here we go. This is a good one. Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 33. 14. Right, let me see. Shalom to those that's tuning in. All right, so this is Jeremiah 33 and 14. All right, and this is why Esau's, plan essentially it failed, okay, because of the promise. All right. Okay, so this is Jeremiah 33. All right. This is essentially they want to stop this vision. All right. Jeremiah 33 and 14, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. Okay. All right. It says, in those days, and at that time will I call the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. And in those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. All right. And mind you, you have to understand that the nation of Israel was split in two. You had the northern kingdom, all right, which consisted of the 10 tribes. And then you had the southern kingdom, which consisted of Judah, Benjamin, all right, and the majority of Levite, because really the Levites were in every suburb among all the tribes. So essentially, the northern kingdom had Levites in it as well, okay, based upon how the Lord had set up our inheritance, okay, because you had Levites in suburbs that were essentially next to every tribe of Israel, okay. So you have a split state. What the Lord is saying here, the promise that He said that He was going to perform the good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah, right? And so, what is that promise? Essentially, bringing us back together, okay? All right, and that's really what this ministry, a big part of this ministry, is that. All right, okay. So, and that's why you have us out there with, Ezekiel 37 goes into that slot. The two sticks that came together. Okay. The two sticks that came together was Judah and Israel. All right, but the prophecy that that we fulfilled today, which is bringing this prophecy together, right, is us out there on the highways and byways. All right, which is it's a light thing to people. People, you got the naysayers and people that come against the 12 tribes chart, but this is one of the most focal points of one of the biggest things that could, that we can possibly do, and it's being overlooked. Let's see. Let's see. Where can I start? All right. Here we go. The reunion of Judah and Israel. The word of the Lord Yahweh came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel, his companions. All right, so Judah represents the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Then you have children of Israel, which comprises of the 10 tribes. Okay, and so it says, then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim. So it's like, let me read it again. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. All right, that was Benjamin and Levi. It says, then another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And that would consist of, um, the 10 tribes. All right. Okay. So it says, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not shew us that what thou meanest by these? All right. And so they're supposed to actually come up to us and say, what does this mean? All right. We've had that. Okay. you know, um, individuals come up and ask about the 12 tribe sign. All right. And they say, what do you mean by this? Okay. All right. And that's essentially prophecy was fulfilled and is being fulfilled till this day. All right. To what? To bring in this Davidic kingdom. All right. Which is the house of David. All right. Which is a ruling body. All right. So it says, or governance that's going to govern Israel. All right. In the whole world. This is Jeremiah 33:14. Behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will perform a good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. All right. And ultimately, the fear of Esau's greatest threat is this knowledge that we have now. The fact that we are Israelites. The fact that we are the seed of Israel. Okay. It says, verse 15, and in those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. And this is, of course, yet to come. All right. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. Okay. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called. All right. The Lord Yahweh, our righteousness. All right. So Yahweh Tazadak. Okay. Tazadak Nawa. Okay. Verse 17, it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel, neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice continually. Because we're all going to be priests of the Lord, and of course, Yahweh Shai is going to rule this kingdom. Okay. All right. Because when you think about David's kingdom, it comprised of all the tribes, essentially dwelling in safety under Solomon, the rule of Solomon. Okay, so David established the kingdom through, of course, war and conquering the nations, so that we could dwell safely. All right, under the rule of Solomon, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay. So I kind of went a little not left field, but it was the spirit. But so that light, all right, that Esau tried so hard to extinguish, all right, has sparked the hearts of you believers. Okay, all right. This is why he's so afraid. Okay. This is why he's so afraid. All right. So I want to start at 27, just to hit the point. 2 Ezra 6:27, it says, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. All right. You see, Esau, one of his greatest tools is deceit. All right. And his greatest weapon is deceit and mischief. Okay. All right. And his whole game, his whole plight is to draw the world into hopelessness and complete obscurity. But he's not going to be able to do that because of the power of the Lord. All right. All right. So for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. How is it flourishing? It's going to flourish it's flourishing through us first. Okay. Corruption shall be overcome. And this is where we at, man. You know, all right. The elect are transcending and overcoming the corruption of this world. All right, and it's more corrupt now. All right, than it has ever been. It's a war on, essentially your spirits. Okay, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. You see, all right. So that truth that's been suppressed, that's been blotted out, is being declared now. All right. Of course, we had to wake up first. You see. All right. So let me see. All right. Yeah. So Ephesians. I can go Ephesians real quick. Ephesians 2. All right. And 8. All right. Because the thing that we have is really it's precious. All right. It's a gift. It says here. It says Ephesians 2:8. It says, "For by grace are ye saved through faith." Okay. Because you got some that believe that we're going to be saved by doing the whole law of the law. All right, which is impossible. Okay, all right. If it were possible, which we know it ain't, that would have been happening. We wouldn't have to be talking about Yahweh Shai and his sacrifice if it was possible. But that didn't happen. So for by grace are ye saved through faith, and not of yourselves. It is the gift of God. You see, this truth, all right, is the belief in this truth is a gift. Okay, simply put, and that's why everybody can't get it. Okay, everybody can't get it. 2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Okay, it is hid to those that are lost. All right. Let's see. All right. So if our gospel be hid, it's only hid to those that are lost. Okay, that the Lord pretty much blinded the minds. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So I continue. It says, 2 Corinthians 4:3 again. It says, "But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not." You see. So the God of this world, of course, is what? Satan. All right, and Esau, is a counterpart of Satan. So you can say the God of this world is a so-called white man who comes in the power of Satan. All right, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, the chosen one or the anointed, who is the image of God, all right, should shine unto them. All right. Okay, so for we preach not ourselves, but Hamashiach Yahushai the Lord, and ourselves your servants for Yahushui's sake. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, has shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Yahushua Mashiach. So it's the Lord, all right, who commanded this light to shine out of darkness, and that's why we have it. Okay, and this light condemns this world. All right, John 3:19. So what we received, all right, was way beyond the expectations of this devil, all right, because they tried to extinguish that light, all right, which we know is us knowing that we're Israelites, okay, and that's why they put forth such an effort to to come against this truth, all right, but But that's why this truth is power indeed. All right, we don't need no weapons. We don't need to kill anybody, because the scriptures say the weapons of our warfare are carnal. Right? Okay. So 2 Corinthians 10:3, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Okay. So that we don't war, all right. As it says here, we are human, but we don't wage war as humans do. You see, we don't wage wars as humans do. This war is a spiritual war, right? So for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right. So the weapons we use is not the conventional weapons that humans use, right? But mighty through God. So mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. All right. Casting down imaginations. See, and that's what essentially these devils have been, casting upon us. All right. So we're casting down these imaginations, which these imaginations they put in place for us to, believe is true. Okay. For example, you have blaxploitation. You have the whole 70s and 80s, the whole caricatures that they produced. Okay. And, forced upon us through, their witchcraft, which is the TV. All right. So, slide. Okay, let me go back. All right. So, 2 Corinthians 10, my bad. So, whatever. So 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. Okay. And so that's why, there's a push by us to, maintain the integrity of the truth, of this truth that was inspired, that was given by inspiration of the Spirit. All right. Because we're supposed to bring every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay. All right. And that's why reproof and correction is such a big deal. All right. Because it's important. Now, we do want to be, a chaste virgin for Yahweh Shai. Okay. Meaning we want to be unblemished and blameless. Okay. And unspotted bride for Yahweh Shai. Okay. So when he comes, we're not tainted with any of these, these sort of imaginations that Esau set up. All right. Here, let's go into the word. Logismas. Right, Lagismas. And it says here, it says thought, imagination, a reckoning, computation. See, a reasoning such as is hostile to Israelite faith. Say Christian faith. It's derogatory. This is a judgment decision such as conscious passes. So the judgments people make, we're bringing into obedience to Yahweh Shai. All right. So, that's what this truth is about. All right. Logos mas, computation, figuratively reasoning. All right. So your reasoning. Okay. Conscious, conceit, imagination, thought, reckoning. All right. So it's just, all right. So. Well, accusing. Proverbs 6 and 18. It says, "In heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief." You see, and that's what that's what that's what we're trying to cast down. All right, Jeremiah 11 and 19. Okay. Now, Psalms 32 and 10. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord, Yahweh, mercy shall compass him about. And essentially, that's another reason why we're trying to get, cast down these imaginations. So you won't be judged. So you won't have to deal with those sorrows. Okay? Especially in these times, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught, and he maketh the devices of the people of none effect. All right. All right. So, okay, let's see. All right. So mischief is his greatest tool. The whole game is for Esau is to make one hopeless and to really drive the world into hopelessness. But he can't do it against the elect, right? It says his greatest tools is distraction through uh, uh, deception. Okay, and the only ones that's going, essentially uh, overcome that corruption, which we read here, is the elect. All right. Okay. So Esau, he tried, but he failed. Okay. Let's see what else I have here. Habakkuk 2:4. Let's see what this says. Okay, I want to use this one too. So Habakkuk 2:4, and it reads Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. All right. So the just is you that believe. All right. We shall live by our faith. Okay. And that faith, right, all right, is the light, the truth, the understanding of, all right, the understanding of this book that we read. Okay. All right. Verse 25. This is also, yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, all right, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, right? And so that this is Esau, okay, which is, he's gonna pretty much try to um, heap all the people in the world unto himself, okay, and he's going to do that, of course, through a device, which is the MOTB, which is the RFID chip. Okay, all right. But the elect is going to overcome this through the understanding that we have. Okay, all right. So Luke 12. Luke 12 and 22. Let's see. All right. So this is just dealing with faith, I think. Yeah, this is dealing with faith. All right. As it works for us. Okay. And then I have one more, Job 5. All right. And so 5 and 8. So this is here I want to start with Luke 12:22 first. It says, and he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, all right, what ye shall eat, neither for the body, what ye shall put on it, or put on, okay. And so the scriptures talk about cast away the the burdens of man, the thoughts that's most heavy to you. Slide. Okay, because it says the mortal thoughts. All right, so the fleshly thoughts. 2 Corinthians 14:14. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. All right, we have to do that. Okay, because the weak nature is always worrying about this, worrying about that. But the Lord is telling us to take no thought for our lives, and that don't essentially mean that give up on life. It's just saying, let's see what the NLT says. Verse 22. It says, Luke 12:22. Then turning to his disciples, Yahushua said, it says, that is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food to eat or enough clothes to wear. Because this is going to be important, because we're headed into times where there's going to be a food scarcity. There's going to be a water scarcity. It's really a crisis right now. People don't understand to what extent. All right. But this is what the Lord is saying, right? Let's go back to KJV. It says for verse 23, it says the life is more than meat, right? And the body is more than raiment, all right? Because again, one of the devil's biggest tools is to drive the world into hopelessness, and he has that power because it's been given to him. When you read Revelations, the 6th chapter, all right, he has that power to bring the sorrows and death, plagues upon the earth, because the Lord has given it to him for a time, until the Lord, pretty much takes this devil out of the way, all right. So again, just to harp on, the lesson, the greatest threat to E is faith. All right, but his greatest weapon is going to be the ability to take, to take the sustenance from you. All right, and to bring about hopelessness, and to bring about wickedness and obscurity. All right, but how do we combat that? Of course, through faith. All right, which is our greatest tool. All right, so Salakia, it says the life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. All right, consider the ravens, right? For they neither sow nor reap, all right, which neither have storehouse nor barn, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls? And which of you, with taking thought, can add to his stature 1 cubit? If ye then be not able to do that thing which is least, why take ye thought for the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. All right. It says, if then God so clothe the grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? Okay. And that's one thing Yahushua always had to do. He had to always address the faith of his disciples. Okay. Because it was shaken because of the cares of this world. All right. And that's one of the points that he stressed to them time and time again. And it's more than one occasion where he said, "Oh, ye little faith." All right. It says, "And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after." See, and this is why they're going to lose when that hour of temptation is going to come. All right, when that comes, the hour of temptation comes, they're going to lose because of what they seek after these carnal things, and their mind is upon, victuals and what they're going to wear in everyday life. Okay, all right. It says, "And your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things, but rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you." See, so seek the kingdom, all right, which is really be occupied in this world. Well, I mean, not in the world. That's a slip of the tongue. In the word, be occupied in the word, all right, and you know, that's gonna, essentially, have your eyes single towards, the kingdom, all right. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, give alms, provide yourselves bags, which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not. All right, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupted. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You see. All right. So Job 5:8 says here, "I will seek unto God, and unto God would I commit my cause, which doth great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth and sendeth water upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise." So eventually, the Lord is going to put a stop to Esau's agenda, all right, but not before he tries to spring it upon the whole world, because that's going to be the hour of temptation, which is going to, spawn Jacob's trouble. Okay, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. All right, meaning they're going to fall on their face. The forward is the ones in opposition to truth. It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. All right, which is the point I want to, bring out. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Right here. Okay. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. All right. Behold, happy is. All right. So yeah. So verse 16. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. This is Matthew 6:25. It says, "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink." I think it's the same thing. "Nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not life more than meat, and the body than raiment." And so the Lord is going to have us, all right, and that hope. As long as we hope in the Lord, all right, and all right, in sincerity, okay, this devil really has no chance. Okay, they really have no chance, and they're in fear right now. Okay, they're in fear right now, believe it or not. Okay, and that's the only thing they can really do. Set up agitators and people that come against the truth, but we do our jobs, all right, because of course the spirit of Satan is on them, and this is what they think of us. This is the wicked. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2. All right, it says, "Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth." They think we're worth nothing. You see, they think we're absolutely nothing, but they got it misconstrued. All right, it says, "Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. He is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraided us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. He professed to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of God. He was made to reprove our thoughts." See, this is Esau now. He is grievous unto us even to behold. All right. So we're grievous for them to even look upon. See, for his life is not like others. Men's his ways are of another fashion. Okay. So they're afraid, man. And don't think for a second they're not. Because his light is condemning them. All right. And this is the condemnation that light has come into the world. You see, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. John 3:20, for everyone that doeth evil hated the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. All right. And so, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I know it was I kind of drew away from the point really, really early on, you know. But Lord willing, it was edifying, you know. Just going into, how Esau has tried to, take that light away, as they use the term, extinguish the light from which enters into the body. And that was the inspiration of God in us. But really, they had no chance because of the promise of us coming together and, essentially the Lord saving us. Okay. So he's with the poor. He's with those that have hope. All right. But he saved the poor from the sword, from the mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. That's right. So that's Job 5:15. Verse 16, so the poor had hope, and iniquity stopped at their mouth. See? So they're not going to be able to do anything in the times to come. Really. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, I say shalom.